Previously, on the fourth culture, we spoke to the ghost of Suhani, or rather, Kaman spoke to the ghost of Suhani, and then Bara tried to speak, and it was a very weird game of telephone. So, Kaman decided to cast tongues on Bara, which resulted in the most confusing and very passionate conversation that we've ever seen ever before in our life. We believe that this was the way that they spoke in the courts back when then, and apparently there's a lot of gesticulation and bombastic language. But in any case, it was all in ancient Elven, so we may understand anyway. Ha ha ha. So that's fine. We learned a few things about the diadem and how it was related to the fall of Najwan. We learned that the breaking of the diadem undid a spell that was put together by Ulta, and the backlash of the spell was the thing that caused the fall of Najwan. We learned that the diadem would try its best to become reformed into one, and that it needs somebody who is strong of mind and purpose to handle it. And then after that, Suhani, the spirit, said, "Okay, bye-bye, my job here is done," and disappeared. So now it is up to us to take care of the diadem. We went into her chamber and found the fragment there. What happened after that? Well, there were also a few other things which we looted, like a short bow and some boxes. Kaman tried to pick up the fragment with mage hand, but like the plinth outside, the spell didn't work. So he told us to all stand away because, he's a cleric and very strong of mind technically, so he should be okay. He tried to pick it up, and as he approached the diadem, he noticed that it was sending out energy to see who was approaching it. So what he did was he opened his connection to Aina, who was screaming because he was being eaten alive, and the screaming helped to clear his mind, and so he could grab it. And as he grabbed it, there was a pulse of green light that moved through the room very fast, and the whole thing started to break down. And then we realized, oh shit, we need to get the fuck out of here. So we all started to swim for the exit. And then there was one moment when Bara tried to grab Kaman to dimension door away, but suddenly he saw that what would happen was that he would take damage, and then the jade diadem would choke itself into his forehead. So he decided, okay, I don't touch Kaman, and then went away by himself. Eventually, we all managed to get out of there safely. Bara cast Leoman's tiny hut so that we can hide inside safely in case, the princess and her people had come back to try to get the diadem from us. While we were inside, we decided to empty out our bag of holding and then put the piece of the diadem inside, which seemed to help to control the power, because after that we could go near Kaman with no problem anymore. So inside the tiny hut, we found out that the short bow we picked up was actually a special one, got name called Whisper. Yeah, can do a lot of funky things, very nice. And then after that, Bara cast Ascending to Ember because she's thinking that maybe if the map says that the family heirloom is in this area, then we don't have to go all the way back. But then Ember said that based on the map fragment that she's looking at, Bara's family heirloom isn't actually Najwan. So after that, Tsunali ported the entire party back to the sleeping horse, and Bara brought Bob to his room to rest because it was the biggest one. And then Tsunali brought a goat dye for Bob, and then there was conversation, and it was kind of awkward, and that's where they left off. Yes. And then Kaman went to Bara's room to ask to see if he can scry for the diadem piece inside the bag of holding, and then realized that it wasn't possible, which is a good thing because, this means it might be a bit harder for them to find it. Yes. And then he decided to scry on Malina instead. Bara saw Malina hanging out with the sea elves and is looking up towards somebody as she speaks and seems very vigorous in her talking. Maybe she's also in the court thing, I don't know. There was a piece of the jade item in her head already, and there was a huge grey leather skin hand with sharp talons, which belonged to a Sahuagin, wearing armor of dark enamel heavy plate covered in coral. Malina knelt in front of that creature And then the vision ended. And that's where we left off.